Hello, happy summer solstice, and welcome to a special edition of Chef Daddy 9000. Today we're going to be talking about what we call cacao milk, and it was basically created by my wife, and I've been field testing it, so to speak, for the last 3 years. And it started out as a breast milk alternative when she figured out that she was going to need to wean our first child 3 to 6 months earlier than she originally planned, and wanted something that was nutritionally equivalent or as close as possible. She took basically some knowledge from nutritional science and exercise science and found a basically nutritional analysis of healthy human breast milk, fats, carbohydrates, proteins, that sort of thing, and started to look at nutritional analysis of other natural, raw, whole food items that could be combined into a liquid format to simulate milk and be nutritionally equivalent and provide the same thing that human breast milk would, minus, some of the amino acids and the stem cells and things like that. So it's absolutely fantastic stuff. I've drank it on several occasions. It's tasty, and it's 7 simple items. We have cacao butter that gets melted in a pan separately on super low heat. It's really, it melts at a really low level, a really low heat level. So super low heat so that you don't burn it. Buckwheat groats that get boiled in just plain water. The recipe on all the packages will tell you other things, but just plain water for those. Whole natural raw almonds that we use to make our own almond milk. In another video, I'll describe the process for that, or maybe put a write-up at the end of this one. Dates. They're pitted, but I still go through them because every now and then there's a pit still in one. Coconut milk. Have 2 types of coconut milk here. This is the one that you would find at Whole Foods and most natural food stores. It's native forest. You always want the simple, or I forget the other term that they use, but basically you want the stuff with no guar gum, no thickeners in it. And you don't want to fudge on this. You don't want to try and go cheaper, because their little systems will get quite gassy at all those gums and fillers that they'll put into stuff like this. The brand that we have found on Amazon to be the cheapest when you buy a box of 12, and also the best quality, not only for making this, for making any like food dish that would call for coconut milk, or any kind of beverage you might make with it. So yeah, and that's Jiva is how I was told to pronounce that by someone on the phone the other day. And then Hemp Hearts is about the best brand, or the Manitoba Harvest Hemp Hearts. It's about the best brand we found for that, both quality and price-wise. If you buy the 5-pound bag, price-wise, it turns out way better, and then you have a lot of hemp hearts that you can use for smoothies and other things if you want to. So that's all the ingredients. Oh, and flax oil. Flax oil, I usually go for the most, unrefined, cold-pressed, freshest I can find at whatever store. Once again, in the winter months, I'll order this on Amazon, but in this spring, summer, and fall, I go to Whole Foods or natural food stores and buy this so that it's in its best quality, because it'll turn real fast if it doesn't stay cold. So that's the 7 ingredients: cacao butter, buckwheat groats, almond milk. Let's get that out. dates, flax oil, coconut milk, and hemp hearts. So now let's put it all together. All of our recipes have 1 can of coconut milk. We looked for ways to change the amount of coconut milk, and it just didn't really work out as well as just keeping it consistent on that level. So 1 can coconut milk. I'm making the two-year-old, 3-year-old version. And that calls for 2.5 tablespoons of flax oil. I have 5 tablespoons of hemp hearts, hemp seeds, 5 or 6 tablespoons of groats. I measured out according to the recipe before I started this video, so look at the card at the end of the video for the absolute amounts. Don't listen to me for absolutes at the moment. 12 dates, and then 24 wafers of cacao butter that have been melted. You want to use a spatula with this, or you'll lose a lot getting stuck to the pan, and also for the same when you're getting it out of the pitcher at the end. And then 9 ounces of almond milk. Hey there, Z. So yeah, that's both oils, the groats, the hemp seeds, both milks, and our dates. So we are good to go. Cap off the blender. And before we go out to blend that, the Vitamix is in the shed, so go ahead and set up the bottles. Pour these into 4-ounce bottles. At one point, one of our toddlers was drinking like 6 ounces of this at a time, but both of them have kind of leveled out in the last couple months at 4 ounces. So that's what I put them into. But this batch is actually made to make 6-ounce bottles originally. So yeah, those are out. And lid caps. And this stuff we found keeps for about 4 days. Most food standards will say to not keep things for more than 3 days, but we found that it keeps for about 4 days, and then we've tried to keep it for longer before with mixed results. So definitely good for 3 days as long as you keep it properly refrigerated and heated up properly, and then otherwise 4 days if you take care of it properly. So now I'm going to go out to the shed and use the Vitamix, and then come back in and pour this off and talk about it a little bit more as I cap it up and put it in the fridge. So here we go. All right, we have now blended all the ingredients together. About 15 to 30 seconds together to chop up the dates and the whole ingredients a little bit. And then about a minute on high to get everything fully blended together. I will say, we have tried to make this with other blenders other than a Vitamix, and it does not really seem to turn out texturally, thickness-wise as well. So I'm gonna say that the cheap Walmart blenders, like, you know, even the Ninjas and stuff like that, don't seem to be as good as the Vitamix that we've had for the last 10 years. And so I'm gonna absolutely insist that unless you are convinced that there's a better blender, that you get yourself a Vitamix for this and everything else you do. It makes the best smoothies. It makes the best version of cacao milk. And I'm still operating off of one I bought 10 years ago, so they're not paying me to say that. But yeah, for the cacao milk, that's really one thing we've learned is, like, we've tried to substitute a few things. Like one time we ran out of groats and we substituted gluten-free oats, and like that worked, but we really couldn't get like a recipe with that. We couldn't figure out the ratios really well enough other than to make it a couple times that way. And we just kind of guessed at it. And then you know, and so that's what I'm going to say is, like, don't substitute, don't fudge, you know, like, yeah, you could get cacao butter that's not in wafers, but then I have no idea how the measurements work out. Just gonna be completely honest with you there. Like, if you sent me an email that was like, hey, I got 10 pounds of unrefined butter that's in big chunks, like, how much of this do I use for the recipes? I'm gonna be like, my wife might be able to do that math, but that's not my job here around here. We'll do a video with her soon in the next couple of weeks where she explains some of the science and the math in it. And she probably could figure out exactly how many grams or what have you of coconut butter to put into each of these recipes. I probably could too if she told me how the math worked. But at some point you have to decide if you're going to put your energy into making this or figuring it all out. So I've just been putting my energy into making it and providing something very healthy for the children to drink. Since I'm celiac, lactose intolerant, both Kay and I have food allergies, and after talking to lactation specialists and looking at other formulas and whatnot and realizing how much sugar and filler and other whatnot and BS was in most of those things, this little beauty came about. There was one other formula we use. It's called Else. We give them that in the afternoon after their nap, once they're about a year to a year and a half old. Otherwise, it's breast milk for the first year, and then this for 3 to 6 months, and then a combination of this and Else until about 3.5, 4, whenever it seems like it's time to just start eating mostly solid food and water. Well, yeah, that's cacao milk. There will be a recipe card that'll basically have a 6-month to 1 year infant, baby, whatever you want to call it, breast milk alternative recipe. And then there's basically year to 18 months, 18 months to 2 years, and then a 2 and 3 year recipe that will all be in that graph. This is something we're really proud of. This is something I'm proud of my wife for coming up with and putting so much energy into. And you know, we've contemplated the idea of looking for a way to make this a big thing, like a product or something like that. And well, that's not off the table. It's just seemed like something far beyond our reach right now. So this is what we're offering the world. Cacao Mylk, grassroots style. You know, you can get all this on Amazon. Most of it you can get at things like Whole Foods, and you know, even some places have some decent regular grocery stores that would carry most or all of these products. And you know, you can make this yourself. I have for the last 3 years. You need a blender and 7 items, and a stove with a small frying pan to melt the cacao butter. So blessings to all of you out there. When some of you do make this for your children, please send emails, comments, whatever. Like I said, we've tried some substitutions for different of these things. Probably any that could come to your mind. I would not suggest most of them. In fact, I would say stick to this recipe, absolutely. Don't fudge from it. Get the absolutely highest quality ingredients, you know, that you can find, and, you know, offer your children the best. That's been the goal here with us this whole time, and now it's the goal with us offering it to all of you. So here's Cacao Mylk. Here's our offering to the world to help today's children be healthier and in better shape than many of us were before. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and that your children or grandchildren or whoever, you know, especially any that are like me, that are lactose intolerant or celiac or have serious other allergen issues, that this might be the solution for. Yeah, we hope this offers some people some real beauty in their life and some real health for them and their children. All right, so on that note, go with love and kindness and patience and peace.